Don't you just wish there was an easy way to improve infantry in Battlefield 1? When unfortunately there isn't just a magic button that will transform you into some godlike player with a 10 KD and 50% accuracy. There are however certain tips and tricks that will certainly improve the score you get and the impact you have for your team. These are things that I have slowly implemented into my game over the past year or so, and at this point in the game I average between a 3 and a 4 KD as an infantry player and constantly push to finish at the top of the scoreboard. I'm not saying I'm the best player, and by watching my gameplay that is definitely clear to see. However, I am far better than I used to be, and that is down to these little changes that I'm going to share with you. Some are pretty obvious, but you'd be surprised, many players don't have this in their game. The first thing I'd suggest, and this goes for both PC and console players, make sure you have chosen a sensitivity that you are comfortable with. This seems like a really general hint. However, the amount of people that run on a sensitivity that is too high or a sensitivity that is not in line with ones from other games they are playing is crazy. You can't expect to be good in a game when arguably the most important setting of them all isn't correctly set up. I personally have my DPI on 600 and my in-game sensitivity on 7%. I feel as if this is low enough to allow me to concentrate on my accuracy whilst high enough to do a 180 turn if someone shoots me in the back. Test out your sensitivity for a few games and don't be afraid to change it up until you find something you like. The lower you go, the easier it will be to aim. However, if you go too low, you'll be really slow and get caught out. Make sure you test it all out too. Unfortunately, Battlefield 1 doesn't have a test range, but you can join an empty server and shoot some targets, maybe shoot different ends of a wall or place some decoys up with the sniper class and then go to work trying to shoot those as target practice. Next up is cover. Staying alive is really important when looking at your overall score and impact on a game. It's not always about getting the most kills. If you can stay alive, you're of course improving your KD and acting as a spawn point for the rest of your squad. I'm always seeing players rush into an engagement only to get a single kill and then get smashed by the enemy team. The better way to approach this is to find some cover and work from there. Peek, check if there are enemies, shoot, return to cover and repeat. I like to be an aggressive player, so sometimes I'll rush in and see how many enemies I can take out, but most of the time I try and play from cover and increase my chances of survival. This is again a really simple tip, but trust me, implement it properly and you'll see your KD ratio fly up. Find cover, wait for the enemy players to come to you and concentrate on hitting your shots. The minimap is something that a lot of players fail to utilise in Battlefield 1. I for one do not use it enough, but I'm trying to improve on that game by game. Spotting in Battlefield 1 is really powerful, especially with the spotting flares. Enemies will appear red on your minimap, and you can often use it to plan flanking routes or even throw grenades onto positions that you can't actually get a line of sight onto. A simple trick that I have learnt to implement into my game is using the death symbols on the minimap. If I see a lot of teammates dying, I tend to stay away from that area as it indicates there is a large enemy presence. Instead, I will use it as an opportunity to flank and gain an advantage. Standing still or proning. Never ever do this. Standing still leaves you in a prime position to get sniped in the face, and going prone is even worse, as you are in a prime position to get headshotted. I know you might want to use your bipod, and that is fine, but be sensible. Don't go prone when facing enemy fire, because you'll get wrecked. Instead, look to find a position that isn't under enemy fire or compromised. Go prone, shoot a little, and then get up and relocate. If you are a sniper, here is another little trick. Always move after every single shot. You can see an example of what I mean in the background. Fire, then whilst reloading or getting another shot ready, crouch and move a step to the side. It's a really effective way of not getting counter-sniped and headshot whilst you're rechambering a bullet or scoping in on a new enemy. A simple way to be more effective on Battlefield 1 is to position yourself in a good squad with good players. If your squad is full of medics, then you're going to get more revives, and running as a medic yourself will improve your chances of survival as you can heal on the go. This is a little out of your control, as sometimes all the squads are full and you're in a squad full of camping snipers. If this is the case, then that sucks. I try to position myself within a squad full of medics and it's not always possible, but if you are able to do so, definitely go for it. You can run around in a pack 2 or 3 deep, meaning if one of you go down, then the medics can pick you up and you can continue. It's a mega effective way of taking flags and dealing out damage on the enemy, You'll often see the best players running in a squad, and all of them will finish at the top of the scoreboard every single game. A tip for winning your 1v1 engagements: always pre-aim corners at head height. Let's say you're pushing into a room and you don't know if any enemies will be there. A lot of players would just run straight in and only look for enemy soldiers once they've started to get shot at. Instead, why not pre-aim corners in anticipation? Pre-aim windows, pre-aim doors, pre-aim positions where you think people could be hiding. This catches the camper out and you beat them at their own game. Here is an example. Sliding can also be implemented into this technique. With the recent update, you have to complete the slide now in order to keep your momentum, and you can't spam it, but it's still mega useful. Watch how I use it. When I slide into a room, the enemy is waiting for me to push in, but I come in sliding through and shoot him square in the face. It's a really awesome way of catching an enemy out. Now on to accuracy. Your shots aren't as accurate when you're sliding and strafing around. Concentrate on hitting your shots while standing still and then get back into cover, unless of course you're using my previous advice of sliding into a room and sneaking up on an enemy. That way you have to sacrifice some accuracy, but you can still be effective. If you are really under pressure and feel as if you're going to get taken out, then what I would say is you haven't used cover correctly, and your best bet is to concentrate on hitting the enemy that is shooting at you. Dodging around is great, but if it's at the expense of you landing your bullets, then what's the point? Hit some bullets, do some dodging, stand still, hit some bullets, do some dodging. It's a better way of approaching the situation instead of dodging around, missing everything and then just dying. Using the map to your advantage is a really awesome technique. Objects like barrels and walls can significantly help your game, and making use of them is really important. Get to grips with your surroundings and control your position. You can implement another trick: peeking. This increases your information on a situation that can be used to gain an advantage on an enemy. I like to do a quick peek to the side, check if anyone is there, and then push for real, checking the corners of the room and moving on. Another simple tip: take the correct gun for the correct occasion. If you're playing on Galicia and are running with the Model 10A shotgun, then you have to keep your engagement ranges to close only. This can be done by locating yourself on a flag in the trenches or within a building. Running across an open field when all you have is a shotgun is a pretty stupid plan. On the other hand, if you have a sniper rifle or long-range medical support weapon, you can set up different engagement ranges and choose to shoot enemies at a longer distance. The guns in Battlefield 1 are very well balanced in terms of their engagement ranges. Make sure you pick the right one for the right occasion. Another trick to prevent yourself from dying as much: work on your evasive maneuvers. Crouch bouncing, AD spam, sliding, going prone, it can all help. Here's an example. Someone's shooting at me, I'm using crouch to dodge. That means you're moving up and down and not so much doing a knee slide. I'm standing still whilst doing it, and then I'm moving left to right with AD on my keyboard. I'm doing the odd slide, I'm going prone into cover. It always helps. This makes you incredibly hard to hit, and as I said, you can't so much shoot back whilst doing this because your accuracy will be all over the place, but if you have to evade a person shooting at you, this is a really effective way of doing so. Far more effective than just running and jumping like you do in Battlefield 4. So hopefully these tips and tricks will help you out. I feel as if my game has improved down to these things, and by trying to implement them into your playstyle, you will definitely get better too. If you enjoyed, leave a like down below and let others know any of your tips and tricks by helping them in the comments too. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.
Munizioni!